Hey everybody, Davey here from Davey's World Fishing. I got my hands on the brand new Okuma Hakai low profile bait cast reel introduced at ICAST 2021. They're just now hitting the market. It's the end of January 2022. These things are getting out there. They are awesome little reels, light cast technology, flight spool, Flite Shaft, oversized gearing, multi-disc. Oh, it's mind-blowing all of the technology this thing has. I'm going to go in depth. We're going to take a look at each of those components and see what it's all about. Stay tuned. All right, guys, as I mentioned, I got my hands on the brand new Hakai low profile bait cast reels from Okuma. These things are crazy nice. You've probably seen a couple of the reviews that are out there. I know Tackle Junkie did a casting video where he was casting, 40 plus yards with a 1/8 ounce jig. It's nuts. Debo's had some of this stuff in his hands. I mean, a lot of these guys are getting them out there. These things are fantastic. I'm gonna run us through component by component. This thing is feature packed. You know, light cast magnesium frame, flight spool, Flite Shaft, oversized gearing, multiple gear ratios, multi-disc, stainless steel carbon fiber drags, universal line diameter. You know, it's got a lot. So let's just walk through each of these pieces and we'll take a look. So the first thing I want to talk about on this reel is the light cast technology that Okuma uses in this particular reel. The Hakai is actually a magnesium bodied reel that comes in at starting 5.9 ounces. 5.9, that's really light. There's only a couple of people on the market that have something lighter or even equivalent to that. Even the old Okuma Helios reels are 6.3 ounces, so very light there. But 5.9 ounces. That's a magnesium framed reel, and they use a corrosion resistance coating on it. So you can actually use this for light inshore, but it's, you know, it's definitely not a saltwater reel, but it's got the corrosion resistance coating to it for a magnesium framed product. Like I said, 5.9 ounces, very light. And you can, of course, you can see how compact this is. That thing just fits right in the palm of your hand. It's small, it's light. It's a really, really cool little reel. Now, the Hakai is a project that Okuma worked on with a company called Dream Tackle. Dream Fishing Tackle, they're out of Japan. They make a bunch of aftermarket spools. You know, some of those spools might be up to $200. This reel starting at $169. You know, to have that spool technology in there, it's a really cool feature. But the partnership, it's called the Hakai DT. The DT stands for Dream Tackle. That just kind of gives you an idea. And you can kind of see the spool here. It talks about the flight spool with Dream Tackle. I did spool this thing up so you can see a little bit of tape residue on there, but really cool spool. Let's open it up and take a look at it, because there's a lot of technology in that spool alone. To open this reel up, you got the cool little dial here, but we'll get back to that. You give this a spin upwards. You get it all the way to the top. Then you got to pop it out. It's actually in there pretty firm, but you can pop it right out of the side. And then, so there's your side plate and your spool. So the first thing we want to look at is the flight spool. Flight spool, they call it that because this thing is light. The spool assembly itself weighs 9.5 grams, which is about 1/3 of an ounce. That's with the bearings that can be used for ultra wide casting range. Like I mentioned, the video that Tackle Junkie did, he was casting a 1/8 ounce and he was getting about 40 yards out of that thing. So the unique part about this spool is, we'll take a little look at it here. There's your metal plate that's going to work for your magnetic, for the magnetic drag. You got your bearing on the other side here. But the real unique feature is the Flite Shaft. It's patented technology. It's a hollow stainless steel shaft that's got precision stainless steel bearings. Of course, this is going to be very difficult to see, but there's actually a bearing that's pressed right into the end of that spool shaft. I don't know if this is coming in clear or blurry, but there's a little ball bearing right at the very end there. This side as well. So you might be able to see a little better here, but that's a ball bearing that's right in the end of the shaft. So both ends there, and what that does is that provides a perfect balance point between weight, strength, and smoothness. So when you're putting that into the other side there, there's actually a little cup that's way down in there. As that sits inside, that gives it a perfect little balance point. There's no actual friction with that ball bearing. So you get in there and you get incredible amount of free spool out of that shaft. Really cool technology. Now, as I mentioned, you got that metal plate there that actually works with the magnetic braking system. So as you can kind of see there, there's all the magnets that are set down into that side plate. And then we mentioned the braking system. So that goes from 0 all the way up to 10. So let's take a look at that. I'll go back down to 0. Let's go all the way back down to 0. So when you flip that over, you can see how deep set that's in there. So as you move that dial, it actually gets closer and closer to the spool. I don't know if you can tell there, but there's actually, that's all the way up to 10, but you can see that those magnets have actually pressed closer to that metal plate. So when that's in there, those magnets are very close, and that's what's going to slow down your spool to help you prevent your overrun or your backlashes that some becomes fairly common within a baitcast reel. So we'll go ahead and put this back together. We'll take a look, drop your spool back in there. You get your side plate. You want to make sure it's lined up straight up and down. Lock that in, and then you're just going to slide that back, and now you're locked back into place. Everything's running nice and smooth. The one complaint that I've seen on a couple videos is that it's not attached. So if you are struggling, you could pop your plate off. I haven't heard that happening. These things have been tested for a couple of years now. I haven't heard of anybody actually losing their side plates. But just be aware that it's not attached, and if you do pop that out there, there's a possibility that it could fall overboard. But hang on to it, be patient, and just take care of your reel there. So we'll kind of work our way around the reel, and we'll see some of the other features here. It does have a nice stiff thumb bar there, so you can actually get into your free spool. Nice, nice component there. It's nice and grippy. You can reach that anywhere you're at there. It's nice. It's not just set to one side. It doesn't have to necessarily go all the way across straight, but your thumb fits directly in there. Coming around the other side here, you have a nice aluminum spool control knob here. It's got the Dream Tackle and the Hakai logo right on the side there. Then if you work your way over to the actual handle, you have a nice long handle throw. I want to say it's 90 millimeters, so it's nice and long. It's not oversized, but it's a nice and long handle throw. And you can see it's got this red mark here, this red little piece here, that actually is going to be 3 gear ratios. It comes in a 6.2, a 7.3, and an 8.1 to 1 gear ratio. Each of those colors is going to signify your reel. So the red one happens to be the high speed, so this is the 8.1 to 1 gear ratio, so very high speed. It's red, so if you have a couple of these out on the deck, you might have the silver, the gold, and the red. If you're picking up the red, you have the high speed. You pick up the gold, you have the middle speed, that 7.3, and then the silver is going to be that 6.2 to 1 gear ratio, or however the colors happen to work. But the red happens to be the 8.1 to 1 gear ratio, so very fast. So we're going to work through here. So we got the handle, we got the nice EVA knobs. This is actually a very comfortable knob system. It's got that silver aluminum look to the outside here, but nice, like almost a, what do you call it? Almost a bell-shaped EVA handle knob. The arm itself is an aluminum handle, so nice and light, but also very sturdy. And then when you get up to the star, when you're adjusting your drag, it's actually Okuma's C40X Carbonite drag star. It's, as you had mentioned, it's a 90 millimeter handle. Then you have that C40X Carbonite star drag. It's nice and light. That actually is very sturdy graphite, carbon fiber. And it's actually very light. So very light, very sturdy. That's that C40X carbon fiber on the star. Now, if you move up just past that, you actually have a universal line diameter indicator. If you can see, there's some numbers on there. 5, 65, 4, 50. You can actually adjust that. You can make subtle adjustments to your numbers there, and you know exactly what line you have on. Maybe you're fishing a 50-pound braid or 65-pound braid, or a heavy leader, light leader. You can actually dial that in so you know exactly what you have on your reel. If you're a tournament angler, you might have 20 rods out on the deck or 12 rods or however many you have. It's nice to be able to look directly down, pick it up, and you can see that this is okay. This is the 65-pound setup. Maybe you want to set it towards your leader. I have 17-pound, I have 18-pound, whatever it happens to be, you can dial it in. Pretty cool little feature there. Now, I'm not actually going to open up the reel, but the Hakai, there's some drawings if you go to their website at okumafishingusa.com. They actually do provide some specs. It's a 42 millimeter oversized hardened brass main gear. Some people are asking what the gearing's made out of. It's a hardened brass. It's actually 42 millimeters, so it's very large. You can see the drop down gearbox here. It's a very large gear, and it's actually ported out. Very strong, and it's a very sturdy, being that hardened brass. It's also very light. 5.9 ounces for the whole reel is pretty darn cool. Now the reel itself features a multi-disc stainless steel and carbon fiber hybrid drag washers that actually put out a maximum drag of up to 20 pounds, 9 kilograms, so 20 pounds of drag, plenty of stopping power. You can really button this thing down. Maybe you're punching, maybe you just want to get something out of the weeds, but you can really button that thing down, get that 20 pounds of drag, and you can horse that fish right up to the boat. It's nice to have that much drag pressure, for sure. And then the reel also features 6 total ball bearings. It's got 4 of the HPB bearings as well as 2 NMBs. Then it's got 1 anti-reverse roller bearing. They're all corrosion resistant stainless steel bearings. They did put the best that they can in this reel. It's, like I said, feature packed for 169 bucks. That's really crazy. Great price for this reel. 5.9 ounces. You've seen some of the casting videos out there, but I did want to open it up and just give you a little bit of some of that look on some of the internal components. That's the Hakai. That is the Okuma Hakai low profile bait cast reel. Hope you guys check it out. I know they're hitting the market, as I mentioned. It's the end of January now. They're starting to hit some shops. They told me that first shipment was all left-hand reels, second shipment's on the water or just landing here in the United States. Pretty cool to see. That's the Okuma Hakai. All right, guys, that's the Okuma Hakai low profile bait cast reel, just introduced in 2021 for 2022 introduction. But it's 5.9 ounces, 169 bucks. You can check them out, get all the details over at okumafishingusa.com. Head over to your favorite retailer, ask for them by name. All your popular bass online retailers have them for pre-order if they don't have them already, but everything's getting close. I appreciate y'all checking in. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below and subscribe to Davey's World Fishing up in that right-hand corner. I got lots of fishing trips on there. I've got more gear reviews, some in-depth stuff as well. But I appreciate y'all and see you on the water.